Hello and welcome. On behalf of Clean Code, I'm me, you are you, and we are so grateful to have you here today with us as we talk about Airbnb's medium problem. Find the total number of available beds per host nationality. Our problem statement reads, find the total number of available beds per host's nationality. I'll put the nationality along with the corresponding total number of available beds. Sort the records by the total available beds in descending order. And this is a prime example of like bread and butter Python interview questions. I have been asked some variation of this question hundreds of times, throughout interviews or developing curriculum or helping students at the undergrad or graduate level. This is classic data science, and you should be really excited to have the opportunity to work on a problem like this. Nothing crazy. We do have a condition. We have to give the answer as a pandas data frame, so we can't do like a list or anything crazy like that. We're not exporting as a CSV, for example. And we have two different data frames to work with. We've got a host, we've got our nationality, which is great, and we got our apartments, which has all of our apartment details. So we pretty much have everything we need to go. I don't think we're going to have to interpolate, but I will see you in the notebook as we begin to break this problem down. All right, here we are in our handy dandy notebook. Let's go ahead and highlight the key parts of this problem. We want total number of available beds per host nation. That is the calculation. However, we have two conditionals. We need to output nationality and then the total number of available beds. It's got to be in that order. And then we need to sort the records by beds in descending order. This is very important. I cannot tell you the number of times I've had like a conversation with somebody at a firm and they're like, the candidate was so great, but they missed this last part and we had to deduct points where we had to fail them because they didn't get it 100% right. I really urge you, slow down, take your practice reps, and really sort out what the question is asking you to do. And a way to help you do that is to look at your data and start eliminating columns. So if we look, host ID is our foreign key pair. This is how we're going to talk the data frames to each other. We 100% need that. What we don't need, however, is apartment ID. And I'll tell you why. We have host ID, and we know that a host must be linked to an apartment. And one host could have multiple apartments. And it is not true that an apartment could have multiple hosts. It doesn't flow both ways. So we do not need apartment ID. We also do not need apartment type. We also do not need the number of bedrooms. We just want the number of beds. And we do not need country or the city in which these apartments are residing, because in our host data, we already have nationality. We don't need to extract that from country. But over here, we don't really care about gender for this problem or age. And now we have taken what is an 11-column problem and made it into a 5-column problem. And then when we write our problem plan in the next segment, it's going to be really easy to see the steps we need to do based on our problem statement, the data we have, and then we'll marry that all together and figure out the helper functions of how we want to attack this problem. All right, let's go ahead and draw out our problem plan just to visualize the steps we're trying to take. So we have two data frames, whatever that was. We have two data frames. There we go. And what we're going to want to do is link them together by host ID to make our df0. In our df0, what we want to do is sort out the nation, the different nationalities that are present in our data. And then from that, we want to, on a per n basis, sum n beds. And then from there, the final step we need to do is we need to make it high to low. So this is kind of how our problem is going to flow. We're going to start from, 1 and 2 and create a df0, sort out our nationalities, and then per nationality, figure out the number of beds, and then ultimately sort that. I think it's pretty straightforward. But let's jump ahead now to our helper functions, where we're going to try something new that hopefully showcases how to marry these two steps together. Okay, so some of the feedback I've gotten in the videos is oftentimes it's kind of mysterious where the helper functions are coming from. So let's do our best to try and fix that by we're going to write our functions in green and we're going to write the columns in blue to hopefully showcase whereby I'm thinking this is obviously where our answers could start diverging. If you think there's a better or a simpler way to do it, by all means go. So I think first we're going to need merge because we need to merge two different data frames together. So that's, 1 and 2, so to speak. We'll call that data 1 and data 2. The second function we're going to need is a group by. Pretty standard among languages that use data manipulation. And what we want to group by is nationality. All right. Then we're going to want to aggregate. And specifically with our aggregation, we want to use sum. And the data we're going to put in that sum is embeds, that particular column that we were given. And then finally, no, I lie, because inside of aggregate, we can utilize the ascending method and set that equal to false. And now we can quickly look at our helper functions to our problem statement and see, hey, we are checking everything off and we can feel good and confident about presenting this answer to our interviewer. So let's go ahead, jump back in the code editor. Let's put everything together, see if it works, and then we'll go from there. Okay, here we are in our code editor. We're going to go ahead and take care of this head statement. We don't want it, it's just going to slow us down. But what we do want to call is PD merge. We already figured out that merge would be our appropriate ability, or the appropriate function to call for this case. Now, merge is going to take two required variables. We need to tell it how, and we need to tell it on what. So we say, hey, we need to do this on host ID. This is the foreign key, and we want a right-hand merge. And then we are going to take that, and it's a little bit like with the pipe operand, but we're going to use a dot group by to get our nationality. And we simply use dot group by, and we say, hey, by that nationality column. And then what we also want to do is say, we do not want nationality to be our index. So let's not use that as our index. And then finally, to close out these chained functions together, we are going to say, hey, we want to aggregate the column number of beds. And we want to do that by using the sum function. And then last, but certainly not least, we are going to sort our values by the number of beds and set ascending equal to false. So go ahead and click run code. Compiles nice and fast. This looks good, right? We have nationality on the left, number of beds on the right. Let's go on high to low. I feel good about it. Let's go ahead and check the solution. All green lines. I've been clean code, and we have very much appreciated having you here with us today. Keep working, and we hope to see you cruising through your next round of interviews. Until next time.